You know, these little pieces of ribbon, phone loops, they're pretty freaking awesome. Phone loops, phone loops, phone loops. Good afternoon. Man, where do I begin? I've heard hundreds of people tell me that iOS is more secure than Android, but lately I don't think that's the case. 2019 starting off real rough for the Big Apple. And what's funny to me is that all the vulnerabilities that are being discovered are being discovered by teenagers. They're either being found by them, actually that's not that surprising. The teenagers are finding the way to exploit them. It's crazy. We've previously discussed the FaceTime bug and y'all already know all about that, and I think it's already been fixed. Now, an 18-year-old has discovered a vulnerability in macOS that leaves passwords exposed for all the world to see. Little snippet from the article says this could include logins for your bank website, Amazon, Netflix, Slack, and many more apps. Amazon alone. Like, how much shopping do you do on that website? I don't do that much, but still, a lot of people, like that's where the primary payment methods are stored. What the f, man? They're supposed to be, Apple's supposed to be the proprietor, the provider, and the privacy conscious this, and the security bullshit that. And before you say, yeah, but that's not iOS, if you're using the iCloud keychain, it applies to iPhones too. Actually, other iOS devices, period, that run iOS. It says he chose not to disclose the details of this because Apple doesn't pay people to bring vulnerabilities in macOS to their attention. I think that's stupid. You are a humongous company and a household name across the freaking globe, and you don't say thank you in the terms of money, which you have mountains of, when they tell you about problems that you obviously didn't know about and your computers that you ask so egregiously high an amount of money for. No! No! Unacceptable, in my opinion. Hey, Phoebes. Actually, the article's exact words was that Apple doesn't reward researchers financially for exposing bugs. So, or actually discovering would be a better word for it. But anyway, so they may reward them in other ways, but how the hell would you, like, what other way is there? Just pay me for finding a hole in your shit. You know what I mean? Maybe 5 or 10 grand to bring a problem to my attention that could result in hundreds of millions of dollars in theft because of passwords and blah blah blah. Doesn't sound all that unreasonable to me. And yet another incident. Yeah. An article by Reuters says a team of former US government intelligence operatives working for the United Arab Emirates, I think that's how you say it. I've never actually looked up the pronunciation of it. Is it Emirates? Emirates? Hacked into the iPhones of activists, diplomats, and rival foreign leaders with the help of a sophisticated spying tool called Karma. Karma's a right? I just realized the irony of the name of that. That's freaking funny. That's hilarious, actually. I'm gonna baste in the enjoyment of that while swirling my wine. Okay, any campaign that shows how potent cyber weapons are proliferating beyond the world's superpowers into the hands of smaller nations, blah, 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 blah. Now, it's interesting that it was hacked by former US intelligence operatives that now work for the United Arab Emirates. I don't know about all that. That's a bunch of political stuff that I really don't want to get into and don't care that much about. But to whom it may concern, it says prominent figures targeting in this hacking spree include former Turkish Deputy Prime Minister Mehmet Simsek, Qatari Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, and Tawakkol Karman, Yemeni Nobel Laureate. I may have butchered every single one of those, but you know what? Whatever. It says there's just a few of the names because the hackers managed to infiltrate the phones of hundreds of diplomats, activists, and officials. Reuters was told by one of these people that this kind of cyber invasion is extremely disturbing and appalling. I could not agree more. Especially coming from a company that, number one, has instilled somehow this illusion of total privacy and encrypted this and end-to-end this bullshit. When in reality, we're hearing all this chatter come from the Apple side of things about, oh, breach, oh, hole in this, oh no, we have a security breach, oh, they used a tool to like infiltrate the phones of government officials. And on the Android side, we hear nothing. And then you still hear people who are like, yeah, but iOS is more secure. It's more secure. I want to get a phone from a company that values my privacy. Do they though? Try as they might. Things are happening that should not be happening to an organization's operating system that those words are said about. No. Speaking of Android phones not having all of these security issues recently, at least, I find it particularly funny. Got a good little chuckle out of when that same article goes, "The tool isn't too sophisticated though and has its limitations such as it cannot compromise Android devices." Not that it hasn't or hasn't yet, it won't work on Android. Android cannot be cracked by the same thing that can crack iOS. So sit there and tell me that, oh, Android's like full of holes, Android's not secure, iOS is, yeah. No. You have it backwards. And another thing, you remember the Heartbleed bug, I think it was? Or it was stage fright, that's what it was. So somebody would text a video file or video link on the Android operating system to another user, and if you opened the link, then you'd be But with this Karma tool, you don't need the target to do anything. They don't have to tap on a link. They don't have to like take some action on their part. No. It's just, I have Karma, you have iPhone, I use Karma, I steal your info. Like, that's all you need to do. And to add to it, it works by exploiting a bug in iMessage. So all of you who are like, yeah, but iMessage is so much more secure than texting because end-to-end encryption and blah, blah. No. Your argument is moot. Just stop, go home. It's cool, No hard feelings, just quit. Granted, this happened in 2017, but still, like, and I only found that out when I got like 3/4 of the way through the article and said, granted, this doesn't work anymore because in 2017, Apple made it. I was like, whoa, I just saw this article, it just got published. So I'm guessing that information about this little event was kept under wraps for obvious and understandable reasons, but it still happened. Like, iOS ain't flawless. In fact, there's a lot more holes in it than people think. Which brings me to the next little event. There are a few iOS apps that have been recording users' screen activity without telling or asking them, claiming it was under the guise of, well, no, that's actually grammatically incorrect. Under the guise of just trying to get some information about how users use our apps. And if you defend this happening on those grounds, then you have no room to talk about Google collecting user data to better understand their user habits. Like, they're the same thing. The article talking about it reads that while that may seem innocent enough, the service also provides a session replay service which allows companies to take snapshots of a user's device without overt user consent. That overt word is interesting. I don't know what they mean by that. In the process, sensitive personal information such as credit card info and passwords get transmitted to a third-party server. That doesn't sound too freaking private to me. Apple. Some of the popular iPhone apps discovered to be using the aforementioned analytics service include Hotels.com, Expedia.com, and Air Canada. So holy iOS is right. You couple that with all the stuff in this video talking about how iOS hates words apparently because they've had like 6 different, and that number's off the top of my head, I don't know the exact number, but a good hard to ignore amount of issues with text-based problems, but I'll let that one explain it to you. My goal here is to spread awareness about all these problems that are happening with an iOS that a lot of people believe to be infallible, or at least superior. No, man. No, it's not. Go ahead, keep your iPhone if you want to be at the mercy of software updates that glitch your shit out, at the mercy of Apple, who can just flip a switch and disable any app that they want to on every iOS user's phone. Like, that just seems like a lot of power for someone to have over my device that I paid my money for. Nope. A lot of that. Ones who I'm confident will agree with me are the Scotties on Patreon, the ones who pay $10 or more per month, and those are Stuart Glover, who actually came over last night and spent some time like chilling out and having a good time. He brought his friend Woodrow with him too. Really cool dudes. Then we have a new one, Ian Lewis, longtime friend of mine, former roommate and former coworker. Thank you very, very much, Ian. It's greatly appreciated. Paul A. Donnelly, Teddy the Dog, Mario Torres, Robert Bitter, Jatinder Lal, Anthony Jackson, Eric Price, Stephen Nichols, Nick Hawks, Sin O, Unit Omega, and Christopher Caswell.
I stay with my Scotties. My Scotties are my boys. I ride with them. And I put that on the generation.
Next, we have the Super Beamers, the ones that pay $5 a month, and those are Paradoxed and Grant Stockton. Next, and certainly not least, we have the Beamers, the ones that pay $1 a month, and those are Josh Edley, Encrypted Bunny, Vincent Papineau, Spidget, Jamie Ives, Rico the 13th, Roman van Rookhuizen, Nicholas Clark, David Larson, and Elixir. Think twice before you buy or upgrade to another iOS product, and stay beaming. I'm going to grab something to drink. Got it. That and that. Well, wine's actually still pretty good. Left it in the glass because I didn't finish it last night. I hear plenty of people using the fact that iOS is, or excuse me, trying to use the... I've heard hundreds of people. What I found, speaking of Android phones not being affected by all, wait, hold on. Former roommate and former